Hi everyone, welcome to another very special episode of Dead Men Talk. I've been looking forward to this one in particular ever since a few weeks ago I got to speak to Dean and Pete from the movie Game Day. There was a part of the puzzle that was missing, and I'm so happy that she's here today because we've got more to talk about as well. So, actress, producer, set designer, we'll get to that as well. From Game Day and Derailed, Val McAdoo. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I was very excited about this.
Yeah, same. I was.
Flattered.
Oh, bless you. Oh, this little thing. No. Um, I've already mentioned, I think, uh in the show with Dean and Pete about how I already knew you. I didn't know I knew you, but I knew you when I saw Game
Right,
Day.
which is so
We just,
funny.
just had one of those moments, which was great. So we'll get into that because there's a certain film I touched on then, which it sounds like you've got a lot to talk about, and it's
Oh
definitely going
yeah,
down my
my
realm of
first film ever. Yep.
I still can't believe that, but that's fantastic. Let's not peak too soon. Let's not peak too soon.
Okay, okay.
So I think what I like to do really, just to sort of set the scene with my guests, is roll it back to the beginning. So yeah, obviously we know you can act, you can produce films, you've done probably loads more besides that. Where did it all start for you in terms of films, acting? What came first? And was it something you wanted to do when you were growing up? Give us a bit of a flavor of where it came from.
It's kind of funny because no, this was I was in the medical field I went to college for bio pre-med, so I was planning on becoming a doctor.
Mhm.
But as I got closer to graduation, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can afford to go to med school.
Right.
I already have debt. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a bit much. So I decided, I'm just going to enter into the work world.
Mm.
And I was in pharmaceutical sales. So that ended up being very lucrative and a
Mm.
great career to be in. I got married to the guy I met in college and we started a family. So yeah, I was in pharmaceutical sales. That was my job. I
Wow.
loved
Okay.
it. It was great. I had two little girls. And then as I started to get a little older, I wanted to take some time off. So I took
Mhm.
some time off and I, was at home doing like odd jobs and stuff. One of the jobs I did part time as I worked for this plumber and roofer
Okay.
at this
Cool.
place. It was like in this big mill.
Yeah.
And in this big mill, so I kind of helped to run the whole mill. And then there were these like little businesses in the mill that I helped with too. Just like something I could do for a few hours when the kids are at school.
Yeah.
Well, during that time, there was an open audition for a producer who was she was from Philadelphia and she was looking for kind of like Philadelphia talent because
Yeah.
she was doing this show. It was called it was for pilot season called High Stakes, and it was about like a guy who owned a like a cheesesteak place, like a
Okay. Yeah.
Pasadena's are big in Philly, a
Mhm.
Philly cheesesteak place.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
And yeah, so then he kind of witnesses like a mob hit and then goes into hiding. What do you
Okay.
call it? The witness protection program.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of like what the show was about. So long story short is I there was this open audition and I did really well in it. I mean, I can do Philly. Go figure. I mean, it's not that hard.
Without even thinking about it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So from that, and then I joined this acting class through that. So I met all these like people who were actors and everything. But I just turned 40. I was 40 years
Right.
old when all
Mhm.
this occurred. I'm 45 now.
Okay.
So it kind of just snowballed weirdly. So I got a part in this like pilot. So I got
Mhm.
to fly to LA and experience all this. I met Leo Rossi, who's kind of like he's a well-known actor, which was
Yeah.
I played his girlfriend in it. And it was just like the coolest experience ever.
Cool.
So with that, there were some other opportunities with Suzanne De Laurentiis, and one of them was this movie called Derailed. Now, again, I don't know what I'm doing. I just started acting, let alone I'm not like a producer. But the one thing that I think she kind of picked up on in class and stuff is I was sort of like a natural leader in class. But quite
Okay.
honestly, it's because I've been in the business for a while.
Yeah.
I was, 40 years old
Mm.
and a mother.
Yeah.
Like as a parent, like you kind of have to manage 5 million different things at one time. So it's like you're naturally like able to get things done easily.
You got your. I rarely swear on this, but you got your shit together, basically.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is easy. So then it comes to Derailed, and so I kind of became like, I helped her along with other people, but I became one of the associate producers, and we were kind of trying to create this film on a low budget. And, you know, I became a part of the team. We were talking about how can we create this film that she wants to do on a lower budget. And I was able to, because I worked at the mill with like the people who, you know, the plumber and the roofer. And then there were like all these other like guys on the property who, you know, they could do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of like a giant area where we could get things done.
Cool.
So long story short is, you know, she's like, oh, well, we need a train and we need, this is the best.
Don't need much. Just
we need like a ditch. We need a ditch, right? And the ditch, we need to line the ditch, and then we need to fill it with water. And then we need to build a train. And then we're going to take the train and we're going to stick it in the ditch. And I was like, we can totally do that.
Okay, that came out of your mouth. Did you actually believe it?
I was like, oh, yeah, please. Well, we did. We like, I don't even know. It's like, I cannot believe that we accomplished this goal, but we did. So I had this part in the movie where, hold on, I'll do it since you recognize me. Welcome aboard.
I was meant to do that at the start. Pete told me to greet you like that, and I forgot. I'm letting him down. Yes.
Bad in the movie. First of all, I was so bad in the movie. It was the first thing I ever did. I had no idea what I was doing. When I say I had zero idea, like I was just like thrown onto set. They're like, "Okay, you ready?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I'm in LA. Like half of the time, I'm in LA. Then I have to go back to Philly to get the train that was not built yet. They were working on it while I was in LA. I had to get back to Philly in like a few days to make sure the train's done and the ditch is ready to go to put the train. So like the stress was like unreal. It was unbelievable. So meanwhile, during that time, I was also in the movie Hollywood, which Pete was a star of.
Yeah.
Okay. In that same, it was like a 2-week period of time where I don't think I slept for more than 1 hour in the entire 2 weeks. That's how insane it was. When I say like it was the most intense thing. Like I've had 2 babies. That's nothing.
And there you go. Every parent that's watching this feels your pain already, I think, to be thinking.
Yeah. Like those sleepless nights. Easy compared to the 2 weeks of my life, 2 to 3 weeks that I worked on this movie. Anyway, we did it. So we, like all the guys, like were able to come together to build this train, dig the ditch, fill it with water, the whole thing. It got done.
And there you go. And like it just happened. And what? A few weeks before that, you had no idea the kind of thing that you were going to let yourself into.
No, like I was thrown into it. And sometimes I say this too. Sometimes it's like the best thing ever to just be thrown into something, because I mean, if I would have gone to, you know, college for, you know, producing and stuff, I would not have learned as much as I did.
I was going to say, so sort of prior to this, I know you said it was an open audition and everything. Had you done any kind of acting, producing, anything? Like even
nothing?
No.
Zero.
That's incredible. That's
nothing.
Incredible.
My like pretty much what I brought to the table was that I was in the business world. I was highly organized because I was a mother. Yeah. And just I could like manage a lot of things at once, right? So that's kind of what I brought. And so
there you go.
That was it.
There you go. So
and then from there, I met Pete and everything during this whole process. And he became, you know, he's like a learned actor. And he became like my teacher. And we ended up opening this studio together. So now we own a business together called the Actors Co-op. And so this is my life now. I'm in my studio. He's editing in the other room. Like if somebody would have told me this 6 years ago, I would have been
right.
Yeah, right.
At any point have you thought I'd probably just need to stand still for a moment or just
no,
just keep going?
I'm on a roll. I'm like, you know what? You know, I
Why
mean,
not?
if I'm 45 now, I only have like another 55 years to live, and I have like a lot of things I want to accomplish. So I'm like, no, I'm just going to keep going.
And that's great. And that's great that you're aiming that high as well. Exactly. You know,
Oh
some
yeah.
people say, yeah, if I make it to 70, 75, I'm happy. No, you're going for the century. I like it.
Oh yeah, for
I
the
like it.
century. And with what we accomplished like in 5 years, I'm like,
Mm,
oh my gosh, imagine the next 5 years, what I'm going to get done.
quite.
It's gonna, and part of that time was during a pandemic. So come on now.
I mean, that
I'm
as
ready
well.
to
Yeah.
go.
But there's so much that we can unpack here, really. I mean, let's go back to Derail just briefly. Anyone out there who, sorry, I know you probably don't keep wanting to go back there.
Please don't
Um,
judge my acting in Derailed, okay?
no, no,
Just
no.
look at that.
Hey,
Please.
I was not going to say that at all. I was like, when I went back and watched the film again after I spoke to
Oh God.
because I was like, because I knew that you were in it, I was like, I've got to go back and I've got to watch it. Um, I'm not going to give too much away here. I wondered where you had gone, if I'm honest, because you're there for a time and then you're not there
I
for sort of.
died.
And that's what I
Don't,
was thinking. It was in that. Yeah, we won't give too much. People that
yeah,
are
because
watching
you
this.
want to know why I had to die then? Because there was no way that I could be also in the, because there was too much going on. Because
Yeah.
I was trying to like run everything when, you know, the whole part after the train was crashed.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
point on, we were in Philly, and I was helping to run the whole thing.
Got
And I'm
you.
like, just can we just say I died? Like I can't do both. Like I literally couldn't. And the guy
Yeah.
who like ran the mill was like screaming at me all the time. He was like flipping out. He's like, I had no idea it was going to be this crazy. And I was like, I didn't either. I don't know what to say. So he's like,
Uh,
you're going to be fired. And I was
oh
like,
no.
okay.
You
I
got
was like,
that
I
one
don't
as
even
well.
care if I'm fired. I just want to get through these. Like, I just want
Yeah.
to get the movie done.
Yeah. So that they just to lay that. Can you give it? I want to hear this from you actually. Can you give a bit of a rundown what the film's about for anyone out there
Sure.
who hasn't seen it?
Yes. So
So
I would. So this story was by Dale Fabregar. He was a director, and Everett Wallen, I believe his name is. Anyway, so the story is this. You know how there's like the you can go on these like date nights where you it's like a murder mystery
yeah.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this was like one of those like it's a date night, but you're on like a little train and you go on a train ride. And they
Mm-hmm.
actually have one somewhere in Philly like this.
They do.
I
I
didn't
think
know
they
about
do
these.
them. They
Yeah,
do them
they
in
do
the
like
UK.
these, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you know, it's like a, you
It's
know, a
like
little date night,
Murder on the Orient Express kind of
murder
thing. I think.
mystery, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole point was, there was this train, and so some of the people were like actors on it,
Mm.
right? Obviously, they're like the murder mystery actors, and some of the people were there to like enjoy the experience
Mm.
of this murder mystery train.
Mm-hmm.
So they go on this like journey. Well, the train gets derailed, right?
Hence the
So it
title.
gets derailed and it goes into the water.
Mm.
So into a body of water, which, you know, which was actually a creek in Philly.
And this is almost
We
like
didn't reveal that.
no. I don't think you needed to be honest with you.
It was a man-made ditch right next to a creek in Philadelphia.
It just shows
So,
you, even on a lower budget, and that it just shows you what you can do because you would never have known that. I mean, I don't know really know
right? I know,
American
right?
much, but
You know when she's like running. Oh, so let me finish the story.
yeah, come on.
So then not only is like the movie like, oh my God, the train, it's in the water, right? Well, also there is like this mystery creature who
Yeah.
is coming to gobble people up, and he has like all these teeth, and
Yeah.
it's
It's a
so
cool creature. I will
yeah,
say
it's
that.
cool, right?
Yeah.
So that was cool too, because I also have videos of that while we were at the mill filming, like they had to put that all that on him, and then they had all this like weird like goo that they'd slap on him,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
and it made him all like mucusy.
Like, as if he had just come out of a ditch.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. So it was like a whole process of like putting the thing on and then putting like the stuff on him to make it all like
And this
gooey.
is so a lot of horror films. I will I'm not doing it an injustice by saying it is like a B movie horror film because I absolutely love those. You know, they're the kind of thing I'm drawn to. You see a lot nowadays. A lot of these films use too much CGI in
Okay,
what they do, and I think it makes it sounds odd, makes it quite unbelievable. A lot of these
right.
films are quite unbelievable, but you know, there was no real CGI with this creature.
Yeah, he was like that was a real like thing that he
It's
put
like,
on.
yeah, which I was quite impressed with, to be honest. And
Yeah.
your train is in the pivotal part because when the story starts to take a bit of a turn, it's your train where it all kind of takes place and then sort of takes off from there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and you know the guy Frank Lammers, who was like the guy who like came in to tell the story. You know,
Yes.
that dude. And he
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
the hat.
The hat, yeah.
So he's a very famous actor from the Netherlands. I don't know if you knew that. Frank
I
Lammers.
recognize his face.
So he's in Undercover, which is like I watched the whole thing. It's like all like
Okay.
subtitled and stuff because he's Dutch. But so he came to America a few times, and I met up with him. So
Right.
I still talk to him.
Cool.
Yeah, and he's like the coolest guy ever. I met him on that, on
That's
the set
cool.
in the LA part. He didn't get
Yeah.
to experience the Philly debacle, but um yes. So long story short, so this creature like gobbles these people and stuff. But at the end of the movie, you'll see the surprise because
Yes.
really it's supposed to be what's the word? Like symbolic, a metaphor
Yes.
for like purgatory kind of.
Yeah.
That's what the whole
very, very
cool.
cool.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing. It's like some people like get to move on and let go.
Yeah.
But some you have to get back on the train again.
And an extra special, for any sci-fi horror fans out there, it's got Lance Henriksen at the end as well.
Yeah, and that's right.
I mean,
yeah, right. So he was, which was like a fun, like, oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Did you get to be around him, or was he
I did not get to meet him because at that point, those were the few days. So I'd gone like the first few days of filming in LA. He came, like I left, and then they had 2 more days of filming. He was during those days when I was going back to finish the train.
Yeah.
I didn't get to actually personally meet him.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, you had your name up there with him, so
yeah, there we go.
That's very cool. Now I know we had a play with this before we came on. You got a little bit of footage you can sort of share with us?
Yes, I do. So I was like going through my Dropbox trying to find all this. Oh, sorry. So the way we put the train in there is we had these PVC pipes to roll it. Like literally this system is how we rolled it in. And we thought we were worried that those are the very classy men that I work with at the mill.
Oh, wow. Doing a bit of overtime there, guys.
I was worried it was going to like break in half the train. We were all kind of worried about that, but it didn't. We got it in full.
That's amazing. So
that's the guy was yelling at me all the time.
You're rolling this. You designed the train. Did you, or what was your role in sort of getting?
There's my buddies Sean and Pat. They helped build this.
Loving life.
I just bought a bottle of Grey Goose.
So there it is.
that is very, very cool.
Oh my gosh. There's Patrick for you. So there's that one. Then hold on, let me see. This will show. This was before it was painted, so you can kind of see like how we have it on the whole system, how we're going to put it in the water. And then we ended up painting it and stuff. But yeah, this is literally just like back in this one section of land that was right near the creek.
That's so cool.
It was pretty cool. I mean, the whole like watching this come to life, I have to say, was
quite. And it always amazes me when you see sort of behind the scenes of these films and you see what happens on screen. You see what it was as it was being built and being shot. It looks nothing like it. I mean, how can
you can't believe this. So here, this is the best picture, I would say.
That's cool. Yeah.
So you can see how this is like literally they dug this out.
Yeah.
Right. And then we just lined it. The lining it was hard.
I bet. Yeah.
To get it to kind of like seal.
Yeah.
And then put the water in. But so you can see how like it kind of worked.
That is insane. So what happened to it afterwards then? Does it still exist?
Then we actually just, it was kind of fun because I got to go with like a big sledgehammer.
You just took it all apart.
Oh, here, that's a good picture too. That one. And then I have one more. This was my friend Dave. So yes, this is actually a machete that we had to use to like cut some of the stuff down. So the part at the end when the lead character, she's like running through like the water stuff, that building there, this is the mill.
Oh, okay.
The side of the mill. And in the back of the mill was that creek, and she was like running through the creek.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like clearing a space for her to get into that creek. Yes, I had to wear waders and everything. That was fun.
That's fantastic.
Okay, there we go.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. That's a real insight into, you know, when you're putting all this stuff together. Do you have going off in your head how it is going to look on camera? I mean, how do you know it's?
I had no idea, because especially this was my first time doing any of this. Like my first time acting in a film, my first time building a train.
Probably the last time.
Sounds so insane. You know, like my first time building a train and a ditch and filling it with water. And then, so I just was like, well, what do you need? You know, like I pretty much said like, okay, so just try to explain to me, like Dale, who was a director, I was like, just explain to me what it is you need. And I'll check in with you. Like, is this it? Does this look good? So we need a way to get it in. So like, how about this system with like, we're going to just roll it. We're just going to roll it. And he's like, that's fine. As long, you know. So, and we couldn't roll it in until the day of filming. Because if you think about it, if it was in water, it's going to like rot.
Yeah.
So we had to like roll it in that day, which was like extremely stressful.
I was going to say, you also, just got that one shot almost, you know.
And then we were like, as it's being rolled in, you're thinking, oh my gosh, the whole thing's going to crack. Because it's like, it's not like super strong wood.
No.
We're thinking it's going to just fall. But thank God it didn't. It actually, the whole thing went down. So,
well, there you go. I mean, what a start to
pretty cool
your career, really. You know, I mean, some people will build up to that kind of thing. You decide, no, I'm just going to go hell on. I'm going to start there. Well, not even decided.
I was thinking, like, since I own like an acting studio now, I'm like, oh my gosh, we should put together a course called like Crash Course. I'm like, all right, listen, you're going to build a plane and then you're going to take the plane and you're going to throw it in a forest. Go.
I'm sure the owner of that mill is saying, please don't come back here. I don't want to be doing this.
Well, yeah, I left there. I was like, okay. He's like, get out. And I'm like, well, I'm leaving anyway.
Oh, there you go.
So
there you go.
It was a good thing because then I got to open my studio. I hope you're watching this.
Better be. I'll tag him. Let me know. So going on from there, then obviously, you know, once you've conquered that, the only way is up, I suppose. You know, you've already kind of you've hit the ground running. So you touched then on a few other projects that then brought you to Pete, and then obviously eventually, as we know from the conversation from the other episode, onto Game Day.
Yeah.
Fill that gap in, and then sort of let's talk about Game Day. Your take on Game Day as well, and your involvement, your whatever you can.
So Game Day, I would say that was like when I got to really, like, after the whole the derailed thing, I was working on so many other aspects. I really like, since I was into doing crash courses, I was like very much into acting and like the art of acting, and I wanted to improve those skills. Yeah. So I really delved into that, and Pete was a huge help. Like, I mean, he's my mentor who's, I was with him all the time because we opened this business. So from there, we produced a few other things, and we were working on several different projects, but then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like with our studio, the one thing we did is we had kids classes because I have two daughters and they wanted to take like, classes for film and television. And there was one studio who did that, and they kind of shut down. So, but they were very helpful with having us open this. So we did like a really cute little short film called The 12 Angry Pigs with all these like little kids. It was really cute. Wow. Yeah, it was so cute. And then we had a red carpet premiere. Oh my gosh. They were like freaking out. So we did the whole red carpet. We had a limo, and they all like got in limo. The limo like literally like went around like the town like twice, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. And they were all like on the red carpet, and then the pandemic hit right after that. So it was like such like a letdown. But during that time is when the Game Day situation came to us, and I think Dean and Pete touched on that. So I had tried out for both the spot of Michelle and Jamie.
Okay.
So I had actually auditioned for both of them. They wanted me to be in the, I got the Jamie role, which was great. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I connected with that script immediately. Like the whole premise of it, I come from a very dysfunctional family. So I was like, oh, this sounds just like,
just a normal Sunday.
This is easy. you know, so it was like, it was easy to connect with. And then
Yeah.
once I met Dean, like I met him over Facebook and stuff. It was kind of like a chemistry read type of thing. It was
Right.
just, it was easy.
Yeah, that's cool.
And yeah, I loved the entire script. I loved everything about it. And then we're going to be working with Dean again on another script that he wrote, which is, oh my gosh, it's the best thing I've ever read. And
really?
I read
That's cool.
constantly now. All I do is read scripts because people are always like sending them,
Yeah,
because they want to produce they want us to produce things. But
yeah.
and I read like a lot of crap. Like, what is this?
Yeah, but then you find the good ones, and obviously there's reasons
Yeah,
why
and
they
it's
stand
like,
out.
oh, this is so great. Yeah, so that's what happened with Game Day. And then since then we produced something called The Seven, which I'll send it to you actually. It's our teen movie that we did.
Okay, cool.
I'll send you the link. Right now we're in the process of submitting it to a bunch of film festivals.
Yeah.
But we had zero budget. When I say zero budget, we put together this whole script, and we got this guy, Rob Cacagna, who's fantastic. He's a great DP and fantastic at special effects. You're not going to believe the special effects and everything in this movie. Right. And again, we literally did this with zero budget with our teen class. And now our teens are going to be like superstars.
Wow. Can you give us any kind of like, synopsis of what it's about?
Yeah, sure.
Give us a flavor.
So the reason we came up with the whole, like, we're going to write the short film is I wanted some like original, we were kind of writing original content for the teens because there's only so much you can find online and in these books where it's like, it starts to get like boring and redundant. So I was like, okay, we have like 10 kids in the class. 7's my lucky number. I was born 11/7/77. Pete is 1/11/71. Okay. We meet people all the time with 7s and 1s. So I was just like, okay, we're going to go with 7. Okay. So there's 7 like chakras, right?
Yeah.
So
I was going to say it's like, a very, very symbolic number. Yeah.
Very symbolic. So I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have the 7 main kids, and they each have like a super heightened thing, the height, whatever their chakra is. Yeah. And then we have these like periphery characters. Okay, this will work. So that's what we did. That was like the premise. Cool. And then I'd watch his Jordan Peterson talk. I don't know if you listen to him at all, but he said something about like the meek shall inherit the earth, and how I always thought like what that meant was, I was always like, it always weirded me out. I'm like, you think of like this little like weak person. And he's like, no, it's like the strongest soldier, right? And I just listened to this talk, so this came in my mind. It's like the strongest soldier who sheathes his weapon. But he's like the strongest one. He just knows to not use his weapon unless he has to use it. So that's really what meek means. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So let's say that in the end, the whole point is like to put your power down to control it. Okay. You know, so that was the point of it. It kind of came from that talk, and it all came from like we can't keep using the same boring books and like looking for scenes. Yeah, I'm excited to send it to you. That's
cool. Yeah, do that. I can't wait to see.
I think you're going to really like it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, well, all the best with that. That's
thank you.
That sounds fantastic. So, anything else you've got going on, or you want to work to, even if it's something that isn't in fruition, that meant that you want to work towards? Ideally, you got any plans bubbling away?
I think the biggest thing is I want to work on things that mean something, that I connect with. And I really want to bring in like local talent, like the whole Hollywood thing and stuff. I'm over and done with it. Like there's so many talented, unbelievably talented people like right here in Philly. And what you can do with just like some people in your area, wherever you live, these talented people, when they come together, it's unbelievable what you can accomplish. It's like mind-blowing. I just did a short film called I See You, using all local, like even local music, like musicians. I want to use everybody local to get something done. And what we did with the 7, again, it's just like people sharing their talents. So going forward, I want to do stuff like that. And there's another short film I'm going to send you too, and that's called Twist of Fate. And Rodell is a director of that, and he would love to talk to you. I told him all about you, and he was like, oh my gosh, I really want to talk to him.
Oh, really?
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Send it my way. Absolutely. I love
Rodell Belafonte Brown. So he wants to speak with you also.
Okay, cool. Well, give me details.
So we'll set that up.
Thank you very much. Ideal. I love this. This is one of the reasons why I, if you wind it right back to when I started, well, the reason I started podcasting is because of
Yeah, I
COVID,
want to hear
really.
about that because I don't know how you got started.
So
And like,
my
you're obviously a movie buff, right?
Yeah, so I started off movies and music. It was my two big loves, and then I always say this way because I think it sounds funny, but I became a writer. I started writing my first horror novel when I found out my wife was pregnant. Make connections, whatever you want. It spurred something in me. It wasn't necessarily a horror novel that I was writing, but because I'd always watch horror films, I listened to heavy metal music, I play horror survival games.
Okay.
These kind of stories were all already there, and I needed some way to get them out. So I started writing, and I've written a trilogy of horror novels
Oh,
with
awesome.
another standalone one on the side as well. And I've written 2 kids' books. COVID came along, and it paid to my inspiration, I suppose. I was halfway through a new novel that it was too close. I think it was the main character is a guy who can basically kill people by touching them. And when COVID came along, I thought, I can't write about this now because
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
too engrossed with that.
sure.
There's too much of that going on. So the reason why I've kind of looking at probably stepping away from the podcasting for a bit is I'm going back to finish that. I have
I got it.
decided I need to I need to finish it. There's another trilogy there. So the podcast really was, while I was sat not writing, I was kind of thinking that I've had all these odd little influences along the way that have fed into my stories. I want to talk about them. My first 2 series were just me talking about, I took every story I've written and I broke it down into each of the little bits that local things that fed into characters or settings, that kind of thing. And then I knew I met a few authors along the way, obviously through my years. I invited them on for interviews. And this is where then it went a different direction. I get to talk to people like you about how, where you get your inspiration from, how you drive yourself creatively. And this is just these networks that I absolutely love has come from doing this. Is put me in touch with so many people like yourself.
I'm sure too, like, yeah, it does spark your ideas if you're a writer and, especially like a novelist to like bring all those, especially for character types too, to meet these different people that, I can't wait for you to meet Rodell.
Amazing.
He's going to be the most interesting character ever. He's like the nicest person you ever met in your life, where he's almost so nice that you're like,
what's the deal? Yeah, exactly. I was about to say
and remember I was talking about the 7s and the 1s. So I'm 11-7-77. I meet this guy Rodell. He'll tell you how we met. It was like just like a chance meet. So he's 1-7-7-7.
Oh, okay.
That's his birthday. How weird is that?
They're everywhere. You're all drawn together, aren't you? Really? I haven't got a 7 that I can offer you.
I know. I was like, what's your birthday?
Yeah, no 7s in there. Sorry.
No, okay.
11s and 4s. Oddly enough, 11 and 4 is my lucky number, and
but
11th of April is my birthday. So
okay, you were born on the 11th. It's always the 7th or the 11th. So it's so interesting because Pete's the 11th.
Oh, right. There you go. It's weird, isn't it?
Right, so you're the 11th. Okay,
yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
Wow, no, Val, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
No,
I'm glad I got to talk about this. I haven't talked about the whole different thing, like, I mean, really ever. I mean, I kind of went into like a hiding from it.
I didn't. I wasn't sure if it was one of those things because, you get some people who don't want to talk about certain things that they've done before. I wasn't sure if this was a good one or a bad one, but I was like, as soon as I knew that was, because I set aside a few questions during the game day interview to ask you.
Okay.
So, well, there we go. That's it. And I didn't bloody do it, did I? Or even today, I was like, I've got to open that. All
right. Well, can you close the podcast with like, welcome aboard?
Not as well as you. I'll ask you to do it, I think, to be honest with you. So
I want you to do it.
No way. Nobody no, because you showed me up now. So you do it too well.
Because I'm so good at it.
You are.
My acting debut. I got much better at acting since then. So thank God.
The amount of screen time that you had, I mean,
it was so little, but yeah.
But
so I watched it and I'm like, oh my God, that was so bad.
It's a pivotal moment, and it's
live and learn.
Live and learn. There you go.
We all start somewhere.
Listen, Val, before I let you go, where can people find you if you want them to kind of keep up to date with what you're doing? Even the Actors Co-op, whatever, however however people
Yeah,
can
well, I
find you to
guess
find out
look
more.
up Val McAdoo. So you'll see, if you look up Val McAdoo, it's McAdoo. If you Google me, there's IMDb. So you see the projects I'm working on and stuff like that. And then the Actors Co-op, it's the Actors Co-op.com. So that's like our, company website.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook,
There you go.
that kind of thing.
And the
So-
great thing, you've got a name, a bit like me, really. You've got a name that is not really out there a lot, so it's very easy to find you.
Yeah, yeah. There's no other like Val McAdoo.
So.
So
Yes. Val, thank you so much. Now, I know Pete is around there. I didn't know if you
yeah.
wanted to say. Did
Pete!
he want to say goodbye for the purpose of the episode? Because that
Yeah,
would be
he does.
amazing.
He does. Peter.
He's not gonna.
I'm surprised he can hear because he has his like headset on. Because when he's editing, it like drives me nuts.
I have my wife sometimes behind me doing her stuff while I'm listening to these. I have to have my
Yeah,
headphones
he
in
has
because
those things.
She calls me
can't
like my
stand-
mother. I Peter. I
Do you
ignore
get
her.
do you get your middle name as well if you've
Gerard.
ignored her?
Peter Gerard.
I like it. Pete Postiglione. I got it right.
She's a gem, right?
Absolutely. This has
Thank
been
you.
fantastic.
Yeah, I call her Ruby. She's such a gem.
You've never once called me Ruby.
Not once, never once.
You will have to now. I've got this on camera. I'm still recording.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. But
Right.
Pete, it's so great to see you again. Thank you so much again for putting me in touch with Val, coming on a few weeks ago. It's great to talk to you. And off of the back of that, I will say this as well, and I don't mind saying this on the camera, is after I spoke to you, once I found out you were in Silver Linings Playbook, a bit like I did with Derailed, I went back and watched that. I went and watched that, and because I almost needed to see you in it. And I tell you what a film! It wasn't one that I would have gone to, until I knew the connection with yourself. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah,
But,
really good.
In Pete's part, he's like, I'm a litigator.
I know. He's smooth.
Do you want another drink?
Right? So
I'm a litigator.
But to have
And Jennifer Lawrence is like, yeah, fine.
I know, but to have a scene with like the two stars now, that's quite cool. That's very, very
Right?
cool.
It was that was quite a day.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was quite a day.
Robert De Niro as well. Was he there because he was in the same scene? But
So he was there. However, he was on the other side of the room. We were in a ballroom. There's about 250 people there.
Right,
so it was pretty crowded, and he was across the room from where we were doing our scene. And we were told before we even arrived, don't go over to him.
Oh, really?
Don't look at him. Don't talk to him. Yeah.
Don't bug him.
Oh, no. Is it like Medusa? Don't look him in the eye.
Yeah, can't look him in the eye. That's right. So I just walked by slyly and patted him on the ass and said, good game.
It's my card.
He would do that.
I
too.
totally
That's
would do
what
that. That's what I
scares
would
me.
do.
Hey, you're only there, only there the once, aren't you? Hey, he might remember you for that. Not necessarily.
Yeah, right.
Sense, but yeah,
he's the guy that hit me in the ass.
Yeah, there you go. You were my guy.
Did Val tell you about her short films that she has coming up?
Yes,
right now.
Looking forward to them. Yeah.
Good. We'll have to send you copies of those once.
And I'm going to send him the 7 too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah. So I'll say, for the purpose of everyone watching and listening, thank you so much, Val, and thank you, Pete, for popping back in.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Congratulations with everything you're doing. All the best with what you got coming out. I'll be keeping a very close eye.
I'm excited to listen to all your podcasts about the way you came up with theory.
Yeah. If you find it, go back to the audio ones. If you can find it on Spotify, Anchor, all that. If you go right back.
I just go under what? Under your
Dead Men Talk.
Okay, that's what I thought it would be. Okay,
I can send you the link and everything. But
thank you.
But you'll find me all the way back to season 1. It's
I like listening to that stuff.
Cool. So
apologies. That'd be great.
It's a bit raw. I was very new to it at the time. So.
Hey, you saw Derailed. I was raw in Derailed.
I was thinking that. I wasn't going to say it. There we go.
So we're good.
Did you say welcome aboard, Chris? Like I asked.
I didn't. I forgot.
I beat him to it. I know how you recognize me.
I had it all to go as well. Again, up here, never came out of my mouth. And then
my daughter's always like, "Mom, do it again." I'm like, "Okay, hold on." My boy.
Hey, you know what? Still recording. This is golden. Anyway, I will say goodbye for the purpose of this. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, Chris Tetrope. Goodbye.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, share, and hit the subscribe button. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram to keep updated about all future shows.